The Emperor has been expecting you.
Today I will tell you about such a race of the old canon of the Star Wars universe as Killiks, a mysterious race of huge intelligent insects, for whom such a thing as I simply didn't exist. The fact was that each Killik considered himself an integral part of his hive, and Killiks resembled bees or ants in many ways. C-3PO even classified them as something in the middle between Hymenoptera and hard-winged. Simply speaking, these creatures were something like huge beetles that had the bee ways of organizing things. Communication between Killiks very seldom included the exchange of phrases in their language. They usually used oral speech in communicating with representatives of other races, such as humans or Chiss. And as a rule, Killiks used dances, pheromones, as well as telepathy to communicate with other members of their hive. And yes, many of the Killiks were strong in the Force. For the entire galactic history, there were no known Jedi Knights who came from this race, but we do know that at least one Sith existed. Still, we would better call him simply a servant of the dark side, and an admirer of the traditions of the Sith people, rather than a real Sith Lord. The Killiks have been servants for more developed races for a long time, serving the Celestials at first. The Celestials were the ancestors of the Father himself, who appeared in the Clone Wars TV series, and then serving the Rakata. In more recent times, they were even noticed serving the Cheese people, the people of Grand Admiral Thrawn himself. At the time of 27,000 years before the events of the 4th episode of Star Wars, the Killiks gradually began to die out, and on their homeworld, planet Alderaan, there were only a few small hives that were hidden deep underground. We must also note that about 3,700 years BBY, they got out and started a confrontation with local colonists of human race. Humans treated the Killiks as beasts, killing them without hesitation. At the time of the destruction of Alderaan by the Death Star, the Killiks had already been completely eliminated, yet the Killik race itself didn't die out. Killiks as a race had one very interesting feature. When they interacted closely with representatives of other species, Killiks gradually adjusted their organisms and behavior to the behavior of their neighbors, and vice versa. In order to avoid a close contact, the Cheese wouldn't allow their soldiers to communicate with Killiks, yet they didn't succeed. And later, many hives adopted the Cheese warriorship, later launching a large-scale war. As a result of this war, the race as a whole was close to be wiped out, so the surviving members of their race were given the opportunity to move to a planet in the Utegatu Nebula, which was very fertile and allowed the race of huge insectoids to thrive. This time of prosperity was short though, and a few years later all living things on these planets were killed by an unusual type of radiation, about the existence of which scientists from the planets of the core didn't even know. Killiks, on the other hand, thought that the Jedi and the Galactic Alliance had made a plot to wipe the Killiks out. As a result of this, a new, even larger war began, in which even some of the Dark Jedi, who became so-called joiners or bog slots, now took part in a conflict on the side of the Killiks. And yes, bog slot is an official term. Those who joined were the people who fell under the influence of the hive. Even Han Solo's daughter, Jaina, wasn't immune to becoming a joiner, but in the end she was able to recover from the changes that Killik introduced into her brain. Using so-called hive ships, the Killiks planned to devour all life in the galaxy, but eventually they were stopped by the joint efforts of the Jedi, the Galactic Government, and the Cheese Dominion. In the end, the most aggressive of the Killiks were stopped, while the peaceful ones were sent into exile. Yet this time the Galactic Alliance scientists at least tried to find safer planets for them. the planets that Killiks will finally call their new homes. And on this good note, my today's video is going to end. If you liked it, then do not forget to leave a like, since without your thumb ups, the development of the channel is impossible. Have a nice day and thank you very much for watching this video. I will always be happy to see you in the comment section. Thanks for watching, and may the force be with you, always.